Welcome to the Bill and Gypsy Show.
Where we help you turn your wedding dreams of sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows
Into amazing experiences, into awesome experiences as we make you the hero of your own story, and we help you being your trusted and experienced guides throughout the process.
Well, Mr. Bill Hansen, he's catered y'all over 10,000 weddings, starting back in the 1960s. And while he is only just barely 75 years young, he is not retired. He is actually very refired. His South Florida weddings at Jessyca, Villa Woodbine, the Bath Club, Deering Estates, you name it, over 500 other venues are sought after by those with very distinctive tastes.
Well, thank you for that warm introduction, Gypsy. And Gypsy, there's more to Gypsy than sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. She's lived weddings her whole life, and she's probably forgotten more about weddings than a lot of people will ever know. So if you're sitting out there as one of our loyal viewers and you're excited about your wedding, but you're also a little worried, confused, you're in the right spot. We're going to help you, and we're going to help you create the wedding of your dreams, generating oohs and ahs from your guests.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, there are so many details to take care of when you are having to make all those decisions by yourself. So don't make the decisions by yourself. Hire a professional wedding planner, and who we have today to help create those beautiful, magical dreams of yours that you've had in your memory or in your thoughts and then created a beautiful experience is Miss Jessyca Perez Canal with EBJ. She is a very experienced wedding and event planner, and actually a new mom of beautiful twins. So she's going to give us all these tips on how to plan that beautiful wedding and create an amazing experience for you and your guests. Welcome to the show, Jessyca.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Super excited to be here with you guys.
Twins, my Lord. You know, whenever I'm out running and I see someone pushing a baby carriage with twins, I always say, you have to go twice as far. That's supposed to be a joke.
Everything. Let me tell you, it is quite a challenge. My babies are 3 months now. They turned 3 months last week. So boy, girl, and let me tell you, they're amazing and they're a handful all at once.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So your background is in economics and marketing, and then somehow you ended up as a bridal planner. Perhaps you can share with us a little bit how you got from economics, which I did very poorly in college, I barely passed, to becoming a wedding planner. And what really, I mean, there's hundreds of planners. What is it that separates you from the competition?
That's a really great question. So I actually went through this in my podcast not too long ago. I just started one. If you guys want to check it out, Boss Babies in Bottles B3. It's awesome. And I always get that question, how did I become a wedding planner? Because I really was a business person. I actually started off in medicine at UM and ended up transferring into business and economics. So it's a little crazy, but I did work at a company where I worked in sales and marketing and just all this kind of stuff. And then when I wanted to transition and come back home, because I was living in Puerto Rico for a while, I decided I was going to do something myself. And I had done corporate events at my other company for them. I had done it on the side for fun because they needed someone to do it. And then I always had done birthday parties and things like that for kids here. And my mom was like, you're so good at event planning, you should just try it. So I interned with 3 different event planners, 1 time each. And before you knew it, I was like, you know what? I can do this myself. And that's exactly what I did. I just opened up EBJ just like that.
Oh my goodness. So you had all those experience and the professional world and economics and what have you. And then you transition, of course, to an event planner. So how do you connect with your brides and grooms? I mean, what's the first question you ask them in order to connect with them that you feel is the most important question?
Yeah, I think with my brides and grooms, the first thing I try to do to connect with them is just asking them what's their style, their vibe, how do they want their guests to feel with their wedding, right? So like, what kind of what are you trying to kind of present to your couples and or to your guests? And most of my couples are always like, I want it to be relaxed, I want it to be tropical, I want them to feel the Miami spirit since we get so many non-locals down here. And so just trying to understand what they want their guests to feel, that really allows me to kind of not only just connect with them, but also just give them the best tips that I can throughout the process as well.
Mhm. So let me ask you a two-part question. Number one is, why should a couple who's watching this want to hire you? In other words, why you and not someone else? And then also, you're in a position to recommend vendors, whether it's a caterer or a photographer or a florist, a limo company. So maybe you can answer that question.
Yeah, so with my couples, why they should hire me, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you have to connect with all of your vendors. And I think that's so important. I think one of the things that my couples like about me is that I'm super relatable to them and I'm very eclectic. I think a lot of wedding planners stick to one style. And I'm not like that. If you look at my portfolio, I have done everything from 900-person Indian weddings to 50-person intimate weddings on the beach, you know? So I've done all these sorts of different styles. And I think, you know, one of the things that a lot of couples like when they come to me is they're like, I just love how you've done this already, or you've done that already. And it's, you know, I don't have that one style. I don't work at that one venue. I've done such a variety, and I like to call myself a chameleon because I really just kind of blend into whatever my couples really need. And I think that's really important as a wedding planner, is not to put your style into their style. It's really just to create their style. And I think that's super important. And what was the second part of your question?
How do you know which vendors to recommend for which couples?
So I break down my couple's budget for them. So I go ahead, and one of the first things that we do, I try to really respect their budgets. And some couples have them and some don't, but the ones that do, I really try to respect their budgets, and I really divide it up into every single category, and I show them how much money should be allocated towards each vendor. And so then I only recommend vendors that fit in their style and budget. So this way they're not looking at, because obviously it's easy to fall in love with everything that's more expensive than what we can afford, right? And so my job is really just to kind of show them the options that fit their style and their budget together. So I want them to connect to their vendors. I want them to love their vendors, but I also want their vendors to, I also want my couples to stick with their budget. So I kind of play that little balance thing right there.
That's where your economics background comes in. You know numbers, and a lot of planners that I've talked to don't necessarily know that. So great answer.
Which best brings this next question, which is like, with today's environment and meaning everything that's going on in our world, and the fact that because of the pandemic, there are a lot of folks that have lost their jobs, or they have, you know, everything is like been lower, their pay and so forth. So what are you advising the brides and groom? Are you advising those that still want to get married to continue on with their planning? And if so, are you telling them to do smaller wedding? How are you advising them in the sense of the economics part of it, and also with them wanting to create that beautiful wedding and memory, but now it's scaled down?
Yeah. So I think for a lot of couples, what I'm telling them, first and foremost, is to do whatever they feel is right for them. I think it's hard for me to really guide a couple. So for example, if in your heart of hearts, you want to have this big grandiose wedding, you know what I mean? And you really want to pull up and you want to do everything, then maybe you should wait a little bit. You know, if you're really okay with doing something where you're just like, you know what, I don't need everyone, I just want to get married, I don't mind that I have to have less than 50 people, then go ahead and do it now. I haven't stopped any of my couples from the planning process, but I have stopped them so that they can think about what it is that they want, that they truly want out of their wedding. Not, oh, my parents want me to invite 200 people. No. What do you truly want from your wedding? And then kind of say, okay, what do you want? Like, once you figure that out, then it's really easy what decision you want to make. I don't guide my couples into one way or another. I just let them figure out what it is that they want.
with this pandemic and everything that we've been dealing with for the last few months, actually some of my catering company competitors have shut their doors, as well as others are on the verge of, going out of business. What
Yeah.
kind of advice do you have for couples who may have contracted with a vendor that may not be around when it's time for their wedding?
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to have a wedding planner, because contractually, that's my job, is to read through your contract and to make sure that it's ironclad, that you would get your money back or that they would perform the services. You know what I mean? And so that is one thing that as a wedding planner, we are doing, and everyone's had to adjust their contracts, because nobody ever expected a global pandemic, even myself, and I had to make sure that my couples understood that. But now I'm making sure that all the vendors are doing the exact same thing. You know what I mean? And that everyone's protected and everyone feels safe, because I think that's the most important. If you feel safe, then everybody will move forward. So I think that's why having a wedding planner is so important, to negotiate through your contracts, to read through them, and to make sure that you're protected in every way.
How have you dealt with refunds?
Right.
Have you had any refund situations?
So we had them more at the beginning than we have them now. Most of our weddings, luckily, have rescheduled, which I think is, really the right way to go about things, hopefully, for a lot of people. But we did have a couple different ones that tried to reschedule, to cancel right at the beginning when this first started happening, because it was a little crazy right at the beginning. And then now, we're starting to see hopefully a little bit more stability as we move forward in the industry. And then in terms of the refunds, because it wasn't on the contract, some vendors refunded and some didn't. And it was sad to see the ones that did and the ones that didn't. And, the ones that didn't, I've kind of looked at them and I'm like, this is the industry that we're in. If you treat our couples badly, that's not okay.
Yeah, I've always had a philosophy of, I'd rather create future goodwill rather than have the money. So, and we've had a number of refund requests, and we have worked with each and every client until we got to the point where they were happy and we were happy.
Exactly. And I think that's the most important. As a wedding planner, that's what I looked at. How did these vendors respond to these refunds? You know what I mean? And I know it was a tough time for everyone, but how I think a vendor responded was important to me, to see their character moving forward in the industry.
Yep.
In closing, what do you really feel is the most important step in planning a flawless wedding?
Great question. The most important step of planning a flawless wedding, is it hiring a wedding planner? Can I say?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
How about hiring Jessyca? That's what we say. Yeah. You want a perfect wedding, hire Jessyca.
No. I think of having a flawless wedding, I do think, I say a wedding planner, but I don't even mean it jokingly. Like, a wedding planner will make it flawless throughout the whole process, not giving you the right vendors, making sure that everything is 100%. And, I just think that is just a really important step. But to really have a flawless wedding, I think the one thing that you need to understand is that not everything goes right. So I think as a bride, you really just need to sit back and be like, not everything's going to be perfect, but everything's going to be beautiful. And that's the most important. And so understanding what's the important part of the day. The most important part of the day is that you're going to be married, right? And you're marrying the love of your life. And so if you understand that, then anything that goes wrong outside of that shouldn't really matter too much, right? Assuming you have a wedding planner and all the big stuff is taken care of, right? I got married 2 years ago as a wedding planner, and I was like, I need to make sure that my day I'm relaxed, because things are going to go wrong. They always go wrong. I'm in this industry. Like, that's just what it is. You get 200 guests, you getting ready. I got ready at the Biltmore. I got married at the church across the street. Then we had our reception at the Coral Gables Women's Club. Like, we had 3 different venues, 200 guests, and a wedding party of 10 couples. Like, something's going to go wrong. I know how that goes. And so just letting go and understanding that the big things are going to get done. The small things don't really matter, and it's going to be okay. So I think that's really the key point to a flawless wedding, is your mentality going into the wedding.
Exactly. And when you're working with a planner like Jessyca, she'll know what to do. Those of us that have been in the business a long time, our line is never let our clients see us sweat. Now, we might be struggling behind the scenes when something does go wrong, but the idea is to fix it before the guests know what happened. At my son's wedding, the limo carrying the grandparents broke down.
Oh,
And,
no.
and we had to actually push the limo. So there's always, and to expect perfection, it's not going to happen. And I could go on days and days about stories about, we had one bride whose wedding dress was stolen 3 hours before her wedding. Now that was a tricky situation.
And this is something that I have gotten a lot of requests on that I'm about to do. I'm going to literally compile all the stories of all the crazy things that have happened in my weddings, and I'm going to do a podcast on them. So I might end up interviewing you, Bill.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm working on a book. It's called Catering Behind the Curtain.
There you go.
And,
I have a line too. It's called Memoirs of a Wedding Planner. So it's going to be awesome.
I love it. Yep. Well, listen, this has been an awesome, awesome interview, Jessyca. I think we'll get all your information up on the screen, and be sure, if you're watching this, go visit our website. I did before this interview, and it's really, really, really good. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jessyca. Right now, what we're going to do is kind of sign off. You can tune in next week, because we do one of these interviews every week, and tune in next week to see who we're going to surprise you with. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please send Gipsy or me an email. And with that being said, turn it back over to Gipsy to wrap things up.
Thank you, Miss Jessyca, so much. And everyone, please hit the like button for us. And we enjoy having y'all watch the show and look forward to it for next week. Thank you all, and thank you, Miss Jessyca.
Yeah, thank you, Jessyca. Awesome.
You're welcome.